Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. My name is Law Nation, LAW Nation. We're going to go over the 105.3 The Fan interview with Jerry Wayne Jones. You guys know how this thing goes, right? If this is your first time watching, don't forget to hit that like button, share this content, let that friend, neighbor, foe know where to go when they're tuning in to Cowboy Sports Talk and Beyond. Let's go.
As to specifics in the game, we knew we were going to have to go in there and run the ball and basically control the clock. But when you look at the challenge we had with their defense, which is top defense, that was going to be daunting. We knew where we were relative to our personnel, and we knew that was going to we thought that would be the difference in the way that we thought we were going to go to Washington weeks earlier with in better shape in our offensive line and, frankly, in better shape in executing no matter who we're playing. But we thought we needed to go in there and control the clock and run the ball. We didn't do that. We knew we had to stop the run on their offense side of the ball, and, of course, we didn't do that. And when you miss the mark like that and don't make it up and special teams play, I kind of get the turnover battle. We real close. We had the one kickoff return, and then we had hand on the ball on the blocked kick there right at that could have given us a score right before the half. When you look at those kinds of things and analyze the game, you really see how and where we came up short. But our plans were to do that. We were stopped short.
Let me say this right quick. So this is Jerry Jones going over the Washington team's loss, that we lost to the team that we played against. And my thing is right here is the game plan was flawed. Why is that, Law? Well, you got no Zach Martin, you got no Tyron Smith, you got no Lyle Collins, so you got a team of misfits as it relates to the offensive line, and all you got is Ezekiel Elliott. So if that is your strength, which is your weakness, man, it was already doomed to fail. Meaning that your plan was to go up against one of the best young front four in the NFL. I hope you guys are listening into the thought tracks of the Dallas Cowboys. That should never been your plan in the first place. Running the ball, taking time off of the clock or what have you, which sounds good until you get punched in the mouth, right? The Dallas Cowboys got punched in the mouth. Think about it. Anybody that's on this side of the world, would you think that you would rush up against the team with all of their first-round talent with the level of talent that you have? That was just already a flawed plan. Maybe some misdirection plays. Maybe try to avoid running into the teeth of that particular defense would have been a better situation and scenario. I digress.
Jerry, a lot was made of the lack of teammate reaction to Andy Dalton getting hit like that. Did you have a problem with it? And what do you make of the lack of guys who went on over there to have Andy's back?
Well, I don't. Again, I think that it's the type of hit that we're trying to avoid.
True.
It obviously can impact a ball game when we're trying to give our quarterbacks in the league every chance we can to keep them on the field. And we give them that discretion to make that call and slide. And I thought he did it the way textbook. But of course, the result happens. This game changes when that quarterback becomes a runner.
True.
And we know firsthand what happened to us with Dak. We've known that throughout you look at the history of the NFL, the quarterback runs in the NFL is going to get hurt and knocked out. And when it does that, the way the game is planned today, you're going to alter your game plan. And that altered ours, knocked the quarterback out. I'm not going to get into how the league saw that, ruled on it one way or the other than we're trying to keep these quarterbacks safe but we're also trying to create situations where the quarterback is kept in check relative to just take advantage of the rules. The reasons he's given that protection is so that he won't be a runner. So, that's where I am on it. I don't necessarily want to get into I don't as to how the league will see that fine-wise or how they'll come down with their decision on where they are penalty-wise.
Now, I will say it was a dirty hit, right? But I think that what the interviewer is saying is that, hey, you got to be able to see some type of reaction from the players. But I can see where Jerry Wayne Jones is coming from, right? I mean, concussion protocol and all of this stuff is a suable action now, and then they trying to level out everything. And as the owner, he got to go to everybody as it relates to the council of the NFL and everything to go over these type of situations. So he can't say, yes, I want my teams or my players to retaliate against a player that get, concussed in a game. That's not how this thing can go. And in his position, he can't say one way or the other. Now, he can probably close the door and pull him over to the side and say, hey, no, I didn't like that. I want my guys to play through the echoes of the whistle. And when they see some of their compatriots on the field there, then we want to be able to get that reaction out there right then and there, that revenge action right then and there. But he can't say that from his position. So I will give Jerry Wayne Jones a pass in that particular portion of this particular interview because he can't say it one way or another. He can't. And then he got to toe that line of thin ice, too. He's on thin ice with that because of his position. And especially, I think that even Stephen Jones is a part of the Players Commission? No, not the Players Commission, the Rule Committee. I think he's on the Rule Committee. So there's so many nuances that goes with that he toed the line pretty well.
Yeah. League reaction aside, we all took it as kind of a bad sign that other Cowboys players didn't rush over there, grab another player by the jersey. You played O-line, Jerry. You know how you're supposed to protect your quarterback. Did you want to see more fight from your own guys when it came to that hit that was laid on Andy?
Generally speaking, I want our guys, our players, to exercise their emotion and exercise their effort when they are aware. A lot of times that you aren't aware of what happened on a particular play. Don't have the benefit that we all have of looking at it and having it reviewed for us. So with all of that in mind, my goal is to have the effort in the case of an offensive lineman out in front of a ball carrier, but being physical like that or basically doing a great job in protection or getting to the second level. Those kinds of things are where I spend more of my time. The involvement in relative to the emotion, one of the greatest emotions that I can ever remember was when Darrell Owens stepped out and demonstrated on the star and became a player and made his demonstration on the star of the flag. But all of that was a little bit far away from the football, but it served a purpose.
Jerry Jones joined us here at 105 through the Fan. Did you feel there was an effort issue during the game on Sunday?
No, I think that your execution, your ability to play winning football, but really it's chicken and egg. You say, well, step your effort up. You'll play more winning football. Play winning football. You'll get on a roll, and you'll have things working for you. And that begets the perception of dominance. All of those things. I've seen guys that top players that get beat on a play, get beat on 2 or 3 plays. All of a sudden, you say, well, he's where's the strength, the effort, and really be top players. So again, I'm reluctant, and I mean that after evaluating everything. I'm reluctant to basically put effort really at the forefront of what happened to us out there Sunday. I can go there and stop looking for excuses way before effort. And the facts are that fundamentally we're not stopping the run. That's one of the things, but we are not stopping the run. And when you don't do that, then a lot of other things come in behind that as to what you are lacking. But we've got to correct this. We've got to correct it. We'll change some personnel for sure, and we've just got to step in here and make adjustments. That's what you do, and I'm confident. What I am confident is, and I'll really kind of have a note here in big red head letters. One of the without a question, the reasons that Mike McCarthy is the coach is because he's been through it. And he's had tough times, and he's had disappointing times. And he's got a veteran, he's got a staff that has had a lot of experience. He's got some younger guys on there too. But I point and will go hard at that. But certainly we couldn't have anticipated being at this stage with our team this year. But if I were going to hire a head coach, that we're going to be at this stage this year and work through this for the betterment of what's in store for us for the rest of the year and for what's for us in the future, I got my man. And this is where you build. I've been here before. I've been here with some really top coaches. I've seen them have a situation that for a lot of different reasons needs improved, needs the leadership to improve, needs the steadiness to improve, leaves the prospects of a bright future. We have that, and Mike McCarthy as our coach.
Man, he said he got his man. and then he talking about effort. And he talking about we got to stop the run. We got to stop the run. Newsflash, you also got to stop the pass. Last time I looked at everything, man, it was the wide receivers living in the backfield behind the defensive backs. But yeah, you do got to stop the run now. And you said you got your man. Trust me, it is COVID right now. And yes, we can look at the bevy of excuses of where we got a plethora of injuries, right? We can look at all of those things. Nevertheless, you can have all of the sayings of, hey, we got to work on effort, but it's not effort. It's more so of this and that. Look, an ant is still an ant. It would never be big as an elephant, right? So regardless of the situation, that ant would never, as much as effort he can give, he would never tip over that elephant, right? Let's be real about it. So when we look at this particular team and we think about the talent-wise, it doesn't matter. You had rushed out there a Darian Thompson, and we all said to everybody over here that don't know football, by the way, said, hey, he's not the answer. We talked to everybody and said many of things about Xavier Woods. He needs to have somebody to play out of, right? And he's talking about one or two plays that we can't collectively say that this is the total body of work of said players. And I'm thinking that he's hinting at Jalen Smith, right? Regardless of the situation, the guy favoring one leg. That's just the reality of it. Xavier Woods making business decisions when it's time to get down inside and make that nose dirty, right, to make the tackle. So those are things that we see with our natural eyes. Now, I do know that coaches probably see the same thing, but coaches probably don't have the longitude and latitude to fire said player. And on top of that, being the general manager is not being just one of the guys that can walk around with your chest poked out when you have your starters. It's also evaluating the bottom end of your team, like the bench players and beyond, and going out there, making the risky moves, making those transactions as it relates to acquisitions on people that you know for sure can bring up and help up this team as it relates to talent. Remember what I said, that ant can never tip over an elephant. It might can make the elephant move, but it would never tip him over. And that's what we got going on right now, Cowboy Nation.
We have a resolve. We had the ability, if anybody does, to get good football players. We have the financial ability to get good football players. We have good football players. You guys will admit that when we started throughout pro football kingdom, we were believed to have had great personnel to start this year with. We don't have a bunch of it now. But that still doesn't mean you shouldn't be not trying, but winning some football games.
Jerry, how much blame as the general manager and responsibility do you take for the talent on the field, the talent development, the underperformance of these players? How much blame as the GM do you take?
As much as you give me when you're talking about how great the talent is. I think you basically step up there and see that it's a joint effort, has been forever, and it's a joint effort. Have a lot of input, have input from some of the best there are in terms of opinions, in terms of what we're deciding to do, have lived a life of being able to determine when there's too much input, but don't confuse the ultimate decision with just a single-minded decision. That's not the way it works. Never has worked that way. Didn't work that way from the first day I walked through this door.
Man, Jerry be talking off of both sides of his neck over here with this crazy thing, or mouth, My thing is, so he's saying, his excuse saying is, okay, you give me all of the credit when we talk about talent, and then you not giving me, you going to give me the same heat action when there's display of no talent being showed and put out there. News flash. It's been 25 years. Have you guys seen a playoff victory? More than 4 of them? Have you guys seen any Super Bowls being won with the talent that you said that you collected? And on top of that, it's much more to do with, you can have all the talent in the world. But if you're not able to elevate said talent, if you're not able to uplift said talent, then it's nothing. There's plenty of people that can probably shoot better than Michael Jordan. There's probably plenty of people that could have been faster than Usain Bolt. But if they don't know how to harness that talent, it doesn't mean a nickel. It doesn't mean a dime. It doesn't mean a penny. It doesn't mean none of that stuff, because it's all about how you can elevate said talent to put that talent and showcase it and wrap it around wins. Look, the talented team not always win, but it's the team that's always prepared that does. Boy, I'm telling people, boy, there's a lot of people that's watching this channel and show right now that's more talented than everybody that's watching, right? But if they never turn on the camera and hit record, then we would never know. There's a lot of people right now, the smartest person that graduated from their middle school, high school, and college and beyond, but they ain't doing anything with it. They out there living under the bridge somewhere. Man, I tell you.
I've had the last say on everything since I bought the team in 1989, period. And
Jerry,
that just isn't how it works.
Jerry, I know Mike McCarthy has skins on the wall and a Super Bowl ring, but do you feel like he has control of this team? And do you think you guys, whether it's coaching or players, have a leadership void, a leadership problem?
Wow. Well, let's switch part of the question. I'm going to answer the first one. Do I think he has control of the situation to the extent that no one ever controls to some degree what is happening out here with us today? We have almost 45% of our salary cap that isn't even on the field. It's not even out there Sunday. 45% of it. We have it in critical areas that we counted on. That offensive line and the running game was going to be the strength of what we have. We knew going in, you better be careful counting on your quarterback being a running threat, because what? He'll get hurt. And so when you look at what we're dealing with and the adjustments that we're having to make, the question of control, or does he have the ability to make any adjustments, get any coach to do what he wants them to do, or basically put out there any formation we want? Absolutely, within the aspect of the assets and tools that we have. But the answer is yes. That was one of the things that we wanted here when we made a change in our coaching after Jason Garrett.
Man, hold on. Let me stop everybody right quick. Wasn't Andy Dalton the veteran quarterback who was drafted, in the second round or something like that? And I know people can say, well, he didn't have this, he didn't have that. Oh, didn't we drafted C.D. Lamb? Wasn't he drafted as a high draft pick? Mm-hmm. And we can talk about Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup. Those are high draft picks, by the way, right? Oh, and we can still look at the situation by you being a talent evaluator and being a general manager. We can throw out the 45%. Yes, everybody got bevies of excuses as it relates to injuries and things like that. But nobody is getting blown out by 25 points every other week, right? Everybody's not getting scored on by 30 points. And on top of that, the whole angle of the excuses with the talent level being missing, let me know what the catastrophic injuries are on the defensive side of the ball. We at least need to see the defense show up. And on top of that, Cowboy Nation, just think about this. Connor Williams, what round was he drafted in? Oh, Tyler Biadasz, what round was he drafted in? Oh, Ezekiel, the main man, Elliott, what round was he drafted in? So let's pump the brakes a little bit and saying, okay, well, we missing this and we missing that. No, it's a no excuse business. You think that the Washington team was going to look at it and say, oh, y'all missing 12 starters. Can't make this stuff up. I definitely can't, because they're going to look at it like, hey, I smell excuses. I smell weakness, shattered confidence. Who instills and installs this confidence on his team? That's what leadership's supposed to do, regardless of the situation.
Is we wanted someone, by the way, we wanted someone that in case the you-know-what hit the fan, that had the credibility and had the doability to do what? Stand tall and strong as the head coach. And he's doing that. In answer to your question, the answer is yes. He's doing that in the face of adversity. Anybody without a resume, anybody without experience can do it when it's all going good. But that's not football. It's never going all good.
Does your team have a leadership void?
When where in the offensive line, where you,
just overall,
where,
when
seriously, but seriously, where would you have a leadership void? Is it an experience void? Is it a talent void? Is it a leadership void? I'm not trying to be cute here. The answer is no. The answer is no.
I'm asking.
There's not a. Well, just shut up and let me answer. No.
Jerry, when you go into the locker room, what I'm asking.
Oh, my goodness. Would you shut up and let me answer, huh? Hey, this is the thing, man. Hey, Cowboy Nation. How in the hell? See, he hit a soft spot now on him, right? And it started off when he questioned the GM part of Jerry Jones, right? And you see how the conversation went from there. My thing is right here, Cowboy Nation. There's no leaders outside of Dak Prescott. You can't go listen to Ezekiel Elliott. He's bumbling over words. He can't put two sentences together. And I don't know how he graduated from Ohio State. He just can't even talk. So I know he can't lead a pack of ants nowhere. Shout out to his field of play. Shout out to that part of his game. And, of course, Amari Cooper, he can't lead nobody. You hear how he talk. There's no Michael Irvin on his team. There's nobody that can really rattle and get everybody going. Maybe you can throw in LVE from his conversation. Maybe on the defensive side of the ball. I know it used to be Tyrone Crawford, but his skill of play with the granny hips doesn't give him that longitude or latitude to say anything, right? We absolutely have zero leaders on this team. And, of course, I know that people are going to say, well, what about Jalen? What about Jalen? Jalen is a hell of a marketer. He's a hell of a business person. But I don't think that a lot of people listening in to what he got to say, man, they sitting there like, man, dog, come on, let's be real. In practice, Tony Pollard ate you up, especially off of a drag route or any crosser route. I don't think that even Jalen Smith have the longitude and latitude to be the leader. Now, maybe one of the offensive linemen. Tyron Smith always been a quiet guy, so I don't really think that he's a quiet leader of this team, and he's injured. I don't think Zach Martin, he's always been a quiet guy. He's not a rah-rah guy. There's no leaders outside of Dak Prescott. Let that sink in. And even if the young rookies of any of those guys are developing to be one, they don't have room to talk right now. We have no leaders. And like I said on my other previous video, you remember when you go into war, when you go into battle, they always try to knock out the leader first. Maybe Andy Dalton tried, but they was like, dog, we ain't feeling you. Remember, he was barking at the offensive line just before, the injury occurred, and not one of them came to his rescue. Let that sink in.
Asking is, do you see the intangibles?
You're not asking me that. I gave you the answer. When I go into the locker room, there's no leadership void in my eyes.
Okay.
Now that's your answer. Let's move on.
Who's the leader?
Jerry Jones joined us here at 105 through the fan. Last year, the defense averaged about, giving about 20 points a game. This year, it's at 35. With the exception of Byron Jones, it's largely the same talent level. What do you think the main reason the defense is so much worse this year, points-wise?
Get him.
Well, you're talking about you said the defense average or the offense average? Excuse me.
The defense. The defense is allowing about 35 points a game. Last year was allowing 20. And it's, for the most part, it's the same talent level with the exception of Byron Jones. Why the big discrepancy? What is so much worse about this year's defense? Is it the coach? Is it the players?
Field position. They're working with an average of the leading turnovers that we've ever had on the football team. And I'd start right there, field position. Defending our goal after we've had turnovers. I'd go right there for number one. Number two, we are having difficulty stopping the run.
That's true.
We are having difficulty stopping the run. So I'll start right there. The turnovers that start early and field position there, and then we are not getting the run stopped, and that's problematic.
So with that notion, you can save a bunch of this by punting on second and third down, right? If field position and turnovers are a part of the problem with the Dallas Cowboys, let's just punt it on second and third down. Because if we can't move the ball, and if we got to get good field position, that explains the reason why I think that they just signed a punter or something like that. Maybe they want to punt the ball all the way down and just say, okay, now you got to march down the field 90 yards. Newsflash. Let's be real, Cowboy Nation. Can we stop lying to kick it? I mean, we can't stop the Washington team. Even if they had to drive the ball 80 yards. Even if they had to drive the ball 90 yards. Do you really think that we're going to stop any team with the way we're playing defense because of field position? Now, I do know that, teams do score when we turn the ball over. It's just one of those things where it's just that this defense give up so many yards, and then on top of that with a short field, I'm not going to be foolish with it. But let's be real with it, Cowboy Nation. We can't stop a nosebleed. Oh, my goodness. Let's go.
Jerry, there are reports that Everson Griffin could be dealt, Darryl Worley, Dantari Poe. Are you thinking about being in sell mode right now for the future of this season, or is it more still about winning the division?
Well, I thought Griffin played well. Now, we need all the players that we can get on the table. I don't know about the other guy.
Worley.
Jerry Jones, every single Tuesday right here on 105.3 The Fan.
Jerry, Stephen had said that, give this time, let this thing evolve. Is this a transition type year? He kind of talked about a transition season.
Yeah. Well, we certainly didn't approach this season as a result or a one-loss record of a transition season. We knew going in we'd change the coaching staff. And so that, by definition, transition from one coaching staff to the other, yes, this was a transition year. We thought with our strength being in our offensive line, we thought with our skilled players, we thought with Dak, Zeke, we thought we could do a good job over on the offensive side of the ball. We we're far apart from that. Not excuses, but we just don't have that team out there right now. Secondly,
before he goes secondly, I got to talk about when he said he thought that his strength would be the offensive line. Newsflash. That was your main mistake. That was your main mistake. So you were thinking that Tyron Smith was going to play a full 16 weeks, right? Going into 2020 season. You were thinking, because we saw that Travis Frederick retired, right? And Joe Looney was going to be your strength. And I don't care what anybody tells me. Connor Williams, he can't knock over a wet paper bag or a wet paper cup, whatever that saying go. He can't bust through a wet paper bag. He can't knock over a paper cup, right? I got it right? And on top of that, you have to understand that even Lyle Collins, the moment he shows up out of shape, you have to start saying, okay, our strength is already weakening. You got to start thinking about that, right? You have to start picking up the phone and making the necessary calls. If that was your thought, if that was your mindset, if the offensive line were to be your strength, I digress.
We knew we were challenged. That's why you had the effort to bring in all those free agents to bolster up the middle of that front line. If you look at it, it wasn't as though we didn't recognize we needed help in the middle of the line. We did hit it hard in terms of off-season free agents, spent money to give us some help there, drafted there. And I hope that Kristen Hill were really right than we were lacking in that decision right there. Kristen Hill did come on and surprise us and had an outstanding first part of the season before we lost him to injury. But we knew where we had to spend some time and attention. That's no secret where we were in the center of our front on the defensive line.
Jerry, last one. Is there an update on Andy Dalton? Is he going to be able to start on Sunday? And do you expect to bring in another quarterback to fill that room?
Guys, to fill the room, not to be meaningful in the approach to the game. I'm talking about bringing in another quarterback. Might have the first part of that, fill the room. Number one. But number two, it's protocol, it's concussion protocol. Those things would be a complete guess, and that's only, who knows how that's going to come out. Who's being the man up above. But he certainly had a serious concussion, first one he's ever had in his career, first one that he's ever had. And so we'll play that as we go through the day here.
Jerry, thanks for the time. Enjoy your day and enjoy your week.
Hey, man, if I were a little abrupt there, then I really don't want to have our day start that way. You're too good a man for that. And this certainly isn't my most tactful time, if you might say, with this thing as we discuss these matters. I'm disappointed for our fans. I can't tell you how disappointed I am. It was not the plan at all. We certainly want to point to things, but they're not excuses. This is football, and I'll assure you right now we're going to put our head down. We haven't spent the time, the years, the money, the effort, and everything for the Dallas Cowboys to be where we are right now. There will be better days.
Well, Jerry, I think people are happy to know that you are extremely pissed off. We know it, and we look forward to better days. Thank you.
There's one thing. There's an old adage.
What's
Don't
that?
piss an old man off with a little money.
Don't piss an old man off with a little money. A billionaire at that. Jerry Wayne Jones, man, oh man, oh man. Hey, my thoughts on this is that we knew and we saw this coming. For those who been champion, hey, we need to go out there and get this guy on the defense. We need to pull the plug on this guy on defense. And they refuse to listen. They refuse to give us any hope as it relates to that. And they bring in people with subpar talent. the ants to try to knock over the elephant, right? And we can see this thing coming a mile and miles and miles away. Cowboy Nation, my thing is Jerry's still putting the lipstick on the pig, and on top of that, he's not qualified to be a general manager. He don't know how to separate his personal feelings towards players and the business aspect of it. Now, he like to pump everything around when it relates to, okay, we got the talent. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you can't match that talent together as it relates to win, it doesn't mean anything. This Cowboys organization need to change. We need to figure out a way. Now, as far as the philosophy of leaning on the offensive line as your strength, come on. We already knew that Tyron Smith, he can't play a full, complete 16 weeks. We knew that coming off the jump. And on top of that, Connor Williams, like I said, he can't knock over a paper cup. And when you think about this, Travis Frederick retiring before the season start, we knew that Joe Looney is Joe Looney. Zach Martin was a staple piece there. Yes, he's out from concussions, but yeah, we'll see what he's going to look like this weekend. But he's the last stone standing. And especially Lyle Collins, what's going to give us the beat of confidence that he, all of a sudden next year, is going to have his mental faculties together and saying, okay, I'm ready to play football. Let that sink in. All right, Cowboy Nation, we're going to have to iron this thing out, figure this thing out all together, collectively speaking. Let me know of your thoughts. Let me know of your opinions of everything. We face against the Eagles week. We'll see how we're going to showcase Danucci. Hopefully he get a start because I definitely don't want to see Andy Dalton right now. I just don't want to see him out there. I want to see what we got out of Danucci. Let's go, Cowboy Nation. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Salute. I'm out. Peace.